Good day, it's August 10th, 2026. The biggest news comes from Michigan, where a candidate was outspent by a ratio of 11 to 1 and still won the most watched Senate primary election. I'm Sam Buban. Welcome to the polls.
And I'm Jessica Rolla. Welcome to this week's edition.
Tuesday last week, the state of Michigan held their primary election. And in the race for the U.S. Senate, Abdul Al-Sayed, a physician by profession, was declared the winner in the election to represent Democratic Party in the November general election. In an open seat because U.S. Senator Gary Peters is retiring. The other Democratic contender, Congresswoman Haley Stevens, could not overcome the votes that went to Abdul Al-Sayed, despite the massive spending of $60 million by her campaign. Most of it went to TV ads. But the messages of Abdul Al-Sayed were reaching to Michigan voters, though the money in his campaign was dwarfed by $40 million campaign donations from pro-Israel group AIPAC to Representative Haley Stevens. The election night seems like a roller coaster ride for both Al-Sayed and Stevens as election returns keep coming, and when it settled the next day, Abdul Al-Sayed maintained his lead of more than 2% of all votes cast. According to multiple media outlets, Al-Sayed was labeled as a socialist advocating Medicare for all, but the good message of taking care of Michiganders rather than the wealthy billionaires and corporate donors and refusing Israel's influence resonated in all corners of the state. Abdul Al-Sayed will face off with former Republican Congressman Mike Rogers for the Senate seat in Michigan. Also in the Michigan primary for governor, Democratic Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson will be the candidate in the general election against Republican Congressman John James, who defeated businessman Perry Johnson in the primary. From other states that also held their primary election last Tuesday, in the state of Kansas, State Senator Cindy Holscher is the winner in the Democratic gubernatorial primary and will face off with Republican Ty Masterson, a state senator and former congressman, comes November. Cindy Holscher ran on a campaign to reject data centers from proliferating in the state, citing no guarantee of benefits to the people of Kansas, and voters see them as a benefit only to wealthy corporations.
The Philippine Consulate General in Los Angeles did an outreach in Las Vegas last weekend, and more than 1,300 Filipino Americans were served in various matters from passport renewals, delayed registration of birth for children who are considered natural-born Filipinos under the 1987 Constitution, voter registration for Philippine elections for those who are dual citizens, issues with SSS, GSIS, and even banking with PNB. Each of the agencies sent their representatives to Las Vegas. The event was hosted by FASAI, the Phil-Am Civic Action International, led by their president, engineer Ernie Buo, and chair of events Bernie Benito. Our very own Sam Buban was president of FASAI before Ernie Buo. The Phil-Am TV team was there to cover the two-day event, and here are some of the photos and video footages from the event.
The Philippine Consulate in Los Angeles had a record-breaking two-day consular outreach here in Las Vegas, serving approximately 1,300 Filipinos, the highest number of applicants ever accommodated during one of its recent outreach missions in the city. Bago pa man sumikat ng husto ang araw, mahaba na ang pila ng mga Pilipinong naghihintay ng maasikaso ng cultural outreach na ginanap nitong Agosto 1 at 2 sa Phil-Am Central dito sa Las Vegas. Pinakamarami sa mga transaksyong na iproseso ay ang passport renewal, sinundan ng Social Security System transactions, dual citizenship, report of birth, late registration of birth, notarizations, PSA-issued civil registry documents, at iba pang consular services. Karamihan sa mga aplikante ay mula sa Las Vegas metropolitan area, Utah at Arizona. Di nila alintana ang haba ng pila dahil ayon sa kanila, malaking tulong ang outreach na ito dahil nakakasave sila sa biyahe papuntang Los Angeles. Sa katunayan, ang iba pa nga sa kanila ay may mga edad na, naka-wheelchair at nakatungkod. Laking pasasalamat din ng ating mga kababayan because the Consul General himself, Adel Cruz, was not just active but hands-on at the event. In fact, he himself conducted the oath-taking ceremony, an opportunity that not many Filipinos get to experience when they take an oath at the Philippine Consulate in Los Angeles. Reporting from Film Central in Las Vegas, Nevada, ako po si Effie Barker.
Filipino boxer and a rising star among Philippine boxers, Charlie Suarez, earned another WBO title on July 18th in San Bernardino, California. The WBO International Featherweight title fight against Mexico's Manuel Avila lasted only a minute in round 1. Shortly after the bell started in round 1, Suarez established a momentum and was able to sustain a combination of body shots, and one straight powerful right-hand punch landed on Avila's chin that made Avila to spin and landed on his knee and dazed. He got up slowly, still less responsive to the referee, and after the referee stopped the fight and declared a technical knockout, earning Charlie Suarez his 19th win, bringing his record to 19-0, with 11 of them in knockout category. Charlie Suarez's win guaranteed him as a mandatory challenger to WBO champion Emmanuel Navarrete. Suarez fans from Southern California and Las Vegas went to see the fight at the National Orange Show Event Center in San Bernardino, California, including our own news team here at Film TV Network. There are talk about a rematch, but still no confirmation from the WBO about that. But Film should be looking forward to the Suarez versus Navarrete bout. Congratulations and kudos to Charlie Suarez. You make the Filipino Americans proud for what you do. And as a footnote, Film TV and your friends are looking forward to your next fight. Many of us will be there. Let's take a commercial break, but please stay with us for the interview with Congresswoman Susie Lee when we come back.
What does your child dream of becoming? In the I Want to Be book series, young readers follow children as they discover the power of learning, leadership, and helping others. The series of 22 books from Ivory Publishing is an inspiring collection that introduces children to careers, confidence, purpose, and possibility. Give a child more than a book. Available now on Amazon, in paperback, and on Kindle. Or visit www.ivorypublishing.llc.net.
I'm Scott Black. When I was first elected, North Las Vegas was a lot like my classic VW bus. It needed some attention. Now an awesome new NLV is taking shape, kind of like this. And we're headed into a future where we have the best of everything. Stronger public safety, improved neighborhoods, new amenities, and higher paying jobs for working families. I'm Scott Black, and I'm asking for your vote so together we can bring this momentum to every road in our city.
With us now, here at our Film TV studios, is United States Representative Susie Lee, who represents Nevada's Congressional District 3. Congresswoman, welcome to The Pulse.
Thanks for having me, Jessica. Great to be here with both of you.
It's our pleasure.
And for new voters out there and those who don't know you yet, please introduce yourself with your personal and professional background.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me. As you know, I have served Congressional District 3, which is pretty much everything west of the I-15, all the way down to the point of the state. And I've been the representative for District 3 since 2018. I'm in my 4th term, running for my 5th term. I serve on the Defense Appropriations Subcommittee, as well as Energy and Water, and the Natural Resources Committee. All of those are obviously important issues facing our communities. Prior to running for Congress, I've lived here for 33 years. I have 2 children, Nevada and Cody. And my whole career before running for Congress was in the nonprofit world. I moved here and began working with the former mayor, Jan Jones, We opened the city's first comprehensive homeless drop-in center. Then I was the founding director of an organization called Inner City Games, which is now the After School All-Star, providing free after-school sports to 7,000 middle schoolers every day here in Clark County. Then I helped run an organization called Nevada Women's Philanthropy, which has invested millions of dollars in local nonprofits. And then right before I ran for Congress, I was the president of Communities in Schools, which is a dropout prevention program here at actually the state's largest and most effective dropout prevention program. So my career has always been in public service, really focusing on issues facing families here, particularly around education and the economy. And so now I'm running for my 5th term here in this district and hoping I can get the support of your readers or your listeners.
Great. And then when you are in the district and meeting with your constituents, what are the top 5 concerns about the situation in your district?
Well, listen, I will say whether I am at a restaurant, grocery shopping, at a farmer's market, wherever I am, the number one concern on my voters' mind is cost of living. They have been really straddled with the war in Iran, which has raised gas prices, the tariff policies of this administration that have increased 96% of the cost of tariffs have been borne by my constituents. Cost of groceries have gone up as a result. And then, of course, when Donald Trump, the president, and Republicans passed the One Big Beautiful Bill, you've seen healthcare costs increase on average over 30%. And that's just not for the people who had the ACA tax subsidies, which were eliminated. So I would say cost of living is most important to my constituents. And that runs the gamut from utilities to groceries to gas to healthcare. They just feel like, you know, they can't get ahead. And then, of course, people want to make sure that they can afford healthcare. And it's not just the cost of healthcare, it's access to healthcare here in Nevada. And that is a key concern. Seniors obviously are worried about making sure that Social Security and Medicare is there for them, and making sure that we're preserving access to both of those programs that they have paid into their entire careers, and affording prescription drugs. I mean, that's been that was one of the key things we were able to accomplish. Was prescription drug pricing, capping seniors' prescription drug at $2,000 a year, capping insulin at $35 a month. And I will tell you, one thing that's really upsetting is the Trump administration just announced that subsidies for Part D, Medicare Part D prescription drugs are being eliminated. And so all of that progress that we've made in trying to keep the drug prices down, basically anyone who relies on those subsidies are going to see them eliminated and their drug prices go up. Housing costs, rent, and as we know, here in Southern Nevada, for someone to afford an average rent, they need to earn about $72,000 a year. We know that even for home ownership, we're seeing the average age of a first-time home buyer go up to 40%. We've seen increase in rent doubled over the last decade here. And that's why it was really important for me to work on the 21st Century Road to Housing Act, which was a bipartisan bill we just passed, which really goes over after those corporate homeowners, people, corporations who have come in here and bought up 1 in 4 homes are owned by corporations, making sure that we're doing more to build more affordable housing. So that was a key thing that we just passed.
And then there are 85 days left before the November 3rd midterm election. And the recent polling on favorability, Democratic Party is averaging plus 4.5 in the congressional generic ballot nationwide. So is this the year Democrats are likely to take back control of the House of Representatives and maybe even the U.S. Senate?
Listen, I never take anything for granted, any election. You know, I represent one of the toughest districts in the country. This is a district as a Democrat that I serve, but also one that Donald Trump won. And I will say that the president's favorability is the lowest it's ever been. Republicans' favorability, especially on the economy, is low. Democrats are actually trusted more on the economy going into this election. So I think like the generic environment indicates that Democrats have a good chance of taking back the House. The Senate is a little tougher road to winning the Senate back, but it looks like the House, we could see Democratic control of the House of Representatives. And honestly, it's a clear rebuke by Americans, not just this administration and some of the policies, whether you're talking about some of the cruel immigration policies that have literally wreaked havoc in our immigrant communities. And let me be clear, I'm for a strong border policy. I'm for making sure that if someone's here illegally and they commit a crime, that they get deported. But what I'm not in favor of is an organization, a law enforcement organization that is literally inciting fear in our communities and not operating under the same standards that we expect of all law enforcement organizations, that being ICE. And then, of course, you've seen the One Big Beautiful Bill cutting services for millions of our most vulnerable Americans. And of course, the increase in gas prices, the increase in utility costs and groceries. And so people are really, you know, feeling like they got sold a bill of goods.
That's
And by the way, and then they've seen a level of corruption under this administration. Donald Trump has gotten $2.2 billion richer in this administration since he's been president. And he's more concerned about investing in his reflecting pool, in the arch, and his gold lions that, you know, greet people when they, the ballroom, than he is on addressing housing prices. You know, when we passed that housing bill just a few weeks ago, the president refused to sign the bill. That's telling people, I don't care about your housing costs. And so I think people are really ready to make a change. And honestly, they watched Republicans sit on their hands for the last 2 years and not stand up to this president. And in fact, I'm running against a guy named Marty O'Donnell, who before he announced he was going to run, he basically said, I'm not going to run unless Donald Trump endorses me. And the reason he wants to run is to be a reinforcement to the president. And so, you know, I think Americans want Congress to stand up and to say, this is wrong, and we're going to stand up and fight for working Americans. And that's certainly not what they're going to get from Marty O'Donnell, who's a multimillionaire who moved here from California, intending to spend over $4 million to buy a seat in Congress so he can be a reinforcement for Donald Trump, protecting his net worth and the net worth of the billionaires that he supports.
And Marty O'Donnell was quoted in a news article, or that he publicly even said that, I don't know my district.
Absolutely, yes.
So you pretty much answered many of I was gonna ask, including immigration, you know, enforcement. But right now it's showing the Real Clear Politics averages Nevada statewide as a +7.5 in the generic ballot. And you had explained what might be driving these numbers in favor of Democrats, the situations in the state and the whole country. So
yeah, you know, and I'll say in this state in particular, we're also feeling what we call the Trump slump.
Yes.
Right? You know, when he imposed these indiscriminate tariffs on Mexico and Canada, Canadians are our #1 international tourists, and we've seen their rates of visiting us off about 25%.
That is true.
We've seen a decline in tourism, in visitor count, in tourism revenue, and that has a direct impact on our workers, on people who are on the strip working. They're seeing fewer shifts, they're seeing reduced hours, reduced spending by our visitors, and it's really having an impact on our economy as well.
When the 120th Congress convenes in January next year, and your constituents sent you back to represent them, what's the first bill would you be sponsoring or co-sponsoring?
Listen, I'm going to continue to be focused on bringing down the cost of gasoline, of groceries, of prices, and making sure we're taking on the corruption of this administration. I also believe that we need to continue to focus on access to health care and bringing down the cost of health insurance in this country, and making sure we're doing whatever we can to deal with our doctor shortage we have here in Southern Nevada. It's been such a key issue facing everyone. And then finally, I'll say, this is an issue that I've been working on ever since I've been in Congress. I feel that we need to have comprehensive immigration reform. We have seen the results of not having any type of immigration reform. And honestly, immigration has been used as a political football for decades.
That's right.
And what it means is that our families get hurt here. Families who are of mixed status, families who have TPS who have just seen it expire.
Right.
DACA, our DACA recipients who honestly have seen their casework be held up under this administration, not able to get work and stay in their employment because they can't get the approval of their DACA done in a timely manner. And that's why I'm the co-sponsor of a bipartisan bill called the Dignity Act. This is a comprehensive piece of immigration reform. And listen, it doesn't have, everyone's not going to be 100% happy in it, but at least it sets out guardrails and helps us make sure we have adequate legal immigration as well, which is something that we've been lacking here in this country.
There are now 6 states in play for the U.S. Senate, from Texas to Alaska, Maine, even Iowa is now in play. Right? So Democrats has a chance to pick up 4 that they need to control the U.S. Senate. Okay, so if the Democrats both control both chambers, is there a congressional mechanism to restore or even codify USAID, the one that was taken away?
Yeah,
by...
I mean, listen, the DOGE cuts that literally wiped out USAID, we're now seeing across the world.
Yes.
The impact. And by the way, people are dying because we are not providing the type of development aid that the United States has done. And listen, like I said, I'm all for going after government waste, but there's something to be said about the soft power of providing the type of aid that USAID provided. And when you look at whether you're talking about the Ebola cases that we're seeing in Africa, that type of aid that the United States provided was instrumental. It would have been instrumental in helping these countries stop or thwart the spread of that type of virus. Whether it is going in and providing aid in communities that, think about it, when you think about the spread of terrorism, when you go in and provide the type of aid that USAID does, you're supporting communities. And without that aid, they're much more likely to align with terrorist organizations. So there's so much that the soft power that USAID provides. And I will say that we will certainly, but I guess the good news is that the State Department is realizing now, as we speak, that the negative impact that those cuts have had, and they've started to reinstate some of this funding for the type of support that they've done. So I do think that we are seeing the recklessness and the result of that reckless decision of what it's having across the world. And so I do believe that there will be a move to start to reinstate some of those investments, those diplomatic investments that have really, listen, if the United States isn't doing it, guess who is? China's coming in and
Yeah.
filling that hole. And that's what's incredibly important as well, to make sure that we continue to hold our position as a superpower in this world, and it's not all military might.
We're almost out of time for this segment, but the last words will be yours. With this question, what do you want to say to the Democratic voters who, in the primary, voted on the other side? See, they get 20% collectively on one opponent alone. So you get 63%, the other 37% are out there. You need to speak to them, right? So,
Well, listen, first of all, I just want to say I hope I earn their vote. As they know, I've been in this community, fighting for this community on a grassroots level for 33 years, rolling up my sleeves and doing some of the hard work to make sure that families can get by. And I will remain committed to make sure that one job can be enough,
yes.
that you can afford a place to live and health insurance and save for your retirement and retire in dignity. That's what we all want. And we want to make sure we have good education for our children. And the alternative is basically a guy who's going to sit on his hands and let Trump continue to do what he's done, which
Right.
all it has done is resulted in families in Nevada paying more than $3,300 more a year in added costs, and not being able to get by. We as a Democratic Party are a big tent,
Yes.
and we can certainly have our inter-family disagreements. But ultimately, as we look to this election, it's about making sure that we have some power in Washington to hold this administration accountable, but also to continue to fight for the things that are going to make life more affordable for my constituents.
Well, Congresswoman Susie Lee of Nevada District 3, thank you for taking the time out to talk to us today, and good luck on your race.
Thanks, Jessica. Thanks, Sam.
You're very welcome. And to our viewers worldwide, please join us again next week for a new edition of The Pulse. Thank you for watching, and God bless your week.